This is the Mannequin character in Unreal Engine. It is a pre-configured character ready to play with the animation cycles and controllers all set up. And what we're going to look at here is various ways that Advanced Skeleton can be using the Mannequin system. So let's jump over to Maya and open Advanced Skeleton. And let's fire up a demo character. Let's go with tune-up. And what is recommended is to use this export here called Mannequin Export. Now there's a few options here. Then again, we get to choose which mannequin template to use. We can choose to scale, and we have an option here to include the modular rig script. And that's including to generate that Python script that creates the modular rig. One more option here, but it's disabled, and that is to include face rig. And it says below that this requires a convert to blend shapes for us to be able to include the face rig. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's convert this to a blend shape face setup. So we'll just go to blend shapes and say convert to blend shapes. Once that's completed, we'll jump back to the export section and again hit the button that says Mannequin Export. And you see we now are able to include face rig. So let's go ahead and run this. Save this as tuna.fbx. And if I open the folder where I've exported the file, you can see we here have the FBX file, and we also have a Python script that allows us to create a modular rig. Now we're going to import this into Unreal. I'll just make a new folder. I'll also call this tuna. And just drag and drop the FBX in. And the import options, I'm going to start out with reset to default. So this is what you most likely will be having as options to start with. And here is the option that says import morph targets. We're going to want that on. Now the other thing we can do now is we can say that when we import this, it's not going to just go ahead and create its own skeleton. It's going to utilize the skeleton from Unreal Mannequin. Now this is optional. You can leave this blank and work with your own skeleton. But this is going to allow us to play the game straight away. Then we'll hit import all. Now it comes up with a couple of FBX warnings here about the mesh smoothing. We can go ahead and close that. And then we can jump into the folder that says third person blueprint. And we'll say that where it says skeleton mesh, instead of the queen character, we'll choose tuna. And there he is. We can close that, hit play and hit the F11, and we're full screen playing with our character. Okay. Shift escape stops. F11 back to normal screen. Okay, so far so good. The other thing we're going to want to do, if we go back to tuna, we're going to set up the control rig for this guy. Now the way it works when we're going to create a modular control rig from this is we just right click on the skeleton mesh, say create modular rig, and that is the modular control rig node. Then we're going to execute the Python script, but we are going to need to execute it twice. So make sure the modular control rig node is selected. Go to tools, say execute Python script. Choose the script that got generated. And so far so good. So now we will double click on the modular control rig to open it. Most likely you'll get one of these small windows in the foreground. You can just close that. Now the other thing we're going to do now is double click on this window just to make sure it's not taking up the full screen. And we can see some red plugs here in the modular control rigs that are not connected yet. And the connection is going to happen on the second time we run the script. Make sure the node's selected again. Again, we go execute Python script. Or since we are going to run the same script again, it's actually going to be listed here under recent script. It's going to be the top one here. So we can choose that. And as that runs, you can see that all these plugs have been filled in and the rig appears. And to test it out, what we can do is just drag and drop this guy into scene. That will create a new level sequence for us. And we can see that we do have the modular control rig, which has all the functions with FK, IK switching. You see here the IK feet are here. If you select that top node, you can see you get the switch, so we can switch over to FK feet. Likewise, the arms by default are FK. Selecting the root controller allows you to have an option to switch that over to an IK arm. And the IK arm has attributes here for stretching and softness. And the face setup is essentially the face from Advanced Skeleton, which you might then be familiar with. So you can select these joystick type controllers and start moving them around. And it also has the same structure and attributes that you're used to from Maya. So for example, selecting the eyes, the joystick lets the eyes move around. And then for things like blinking, there are attributes here for blink, squeeze, etc. And also the high level attributes such as the emotions here are still in here. So you can apply happiness, angry, sad, surprise, fear, etc. And that's it. I hope you have enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time.